They called the girl from our previous video that she's a bitch. Is it okay for Muslim people to talk like that?
We should be talking about his absolute domination of the division, domination of UFC, and we're all talking about him, you know, having a bit of a throwing his toys out the pram.
Why religion is involved again?
To be honest, Conor offering a drink, he knew he was Muslim, he knew he didn't drink. That was disrespectful, and you're not, you know, if you're not, whatever your religion, you're not brought up like that.
What I did see was Putin sitting him down and giving him a kind of don't apologise, so I thought that was interesting.
The Irish hate the Queen, the Irish hate the British monarchy, they really despise them, so to say the Queen must die, you're in support of Conor McGregor. Oh. I think Conor is a celebrity, Khabib is a fighter.
My name's Paul, I'm from Essex.
Did you watch the fight?
I did, yes, yeah.
What do you think about the actual fight?
I knew that Khabib was very good and I expected him to win, and he was, you know, absolutely ruthless, brilliant. Yeah, so excellent performance by him. And Conor looked rusty and, you know, and probably a little bit disappointed with his performance, really. So that, yeah, but Khabib is an absolute monster, champion.
George from Leicester.
Harry, and I'm from Cambridge.
Pretty boring, tame fight, but after it's pretty good. I think Conor looked pretty weak. He didn't even know what he's doing. He looked out of place a lot of the time. I think Conor is a celebrity. Khabib is a fighter. That's the difference between them. Yeah.
It was a bit depressing to see Conor didn't really have, like, every round. It's just like it seemed like, you know, Khabib had the upper hand on. Conor's a bit more interesting to watch, but Khabib had, you know, his kind of wrestling style kind of it killed Conor.
Well, we're not making it up, but we're both called Nick, actually.
I thought it was a good fight. Khabib absolutely dominated. I didn't expect him to dominate quite so much, but he was excellent. He was excellent, and he shut McGregor up, I think. It was a shame. I think it was a shame that he spoiled it with what happened afterwards. But
Max, I'm from London. Well, I think that McGregor, obviously, he didn't deserve to win, but I think that what happened afterwards was, yeah, reprehensible.
Any comments what happened after the fight?
Really disappointing. Khabib's, he had the world at his feet and he's basically thrown it away. He's going to get suspended, I should think. He's done his reputation a lot of harm, to my mind anyway. Maybe some people like the way he reacted, but to me it wasn't great. And yeah, it's a shame, because that's what now we're talking about. We should be talking about his absolute domination of the division, domination of UFC, and we're all talking about him, you know, having a bit of a throwing his toys out the pram. It's a shame.
I thought it was absolute chaos, but you know, I think a lot of people forget that although it's UFC, it is at the end of the day a show business sport. So
I think that Khabib, it would have been a fantastic champion if he had not jumped out of the ring. I think Conor went too far in all the press and the build-up, and I think that was just too much, to be honest. And I'm a big fan. Honestly, I love McGregor. I'm a big fan, but he went too far. And I'd have preferred Khabib to just stay in the ring, get his belt, be a champion, be a true champion. I think it holds the sport that I like. It's a shame, really, that, and now it becomes a whole different animal. It comes, you know, with the, you know, religion and different things that are brought up, and it's just two men out there, you know, fighting. And I mean, Khabib is an absolute class athlete. Unfortunately, his behaviour afterwards wasn't classy at all, and it's disappointing. And then you've got a whole, you know, whole different animal.
Do you think all this was planned before?
I hope so. I think I would if someone said that about my religion and my father. Yeah, so good on him. Do it again.
Well, I mean, like I said, I feel like you saw that afterwards. You know, after the fight, kind of Conor was like saying, "His business is business." Yeah, Conor was saying some pretty nasty things to him. At the end of the day, I feel like Conor didn't feel like there was so much of a grudge there, but Khabib and his team, they were there. They just wanted to do some damage, and you can see even afterwards, Khabib was trying to justify himself. He was saying what he said about me and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, he pretty much started a riot in that thing, and you know, it's entertainment. And it's entertaining to watch and talk about afterwards.
I think that McGregor likes it because I think it makes him money. But I think that Khabib is probably more of a fighter than McGregor is. I mean, if you look at actually, McGregor made $3 million from the fight that he had with Khabib, but actually he made $100 million from Mayweather. So this is a kind of a big thing to consider.
My name is Leo, I'm from Israel.
Did you know that Khabib was wrestling with a bear when he was young?
A bear? That explains a lot because a bear, wow.
So you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's safe?
I think he's crazy. Where he find a bear?
I mean, in Russia there are so many bears around. I don't know.
Live in the country where it's bears, like.
In Dagestan.
Okay, I didn't know that, but it explains a lot.
Yeah, I've seen the footage. Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is it safe?
I wouldn't like to wrestle a bear myself. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he was quite safe. So Russia's. Where he lives in Russia is very different to Essex. Although sometimes we have to wrestle bears, but yeah, no, it's I think. Listen, it's made him what he is. He's an absolute monster in that octagon.
I saw the video. Wasn't that impressed by it. A little bit of animal cruelty, first of all, because the bear was chained up. Also, it was also a cub.
I would like to have seen him one-on-one without the chains.
Yeah, one-on-one. I think if you're going to chain, I think that's animal cruelty. So I wasn't really impressed by that because it's not fun for the bear. The bear does not want to wrestle little kids. He's not a fucking paedophile. But yeah, animal cruelty. So I did really enjoy that.
I didn't actually personally see it. I heard about it briefly, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, it's a strange one. It's impressive by itself. But
do you think it's safe?
Well, no.
It's chained up. It's chained up. It's a slave. It's a slave to him.
Well,
okay, who lets a kid to wrestle with a bear?
Nutcase, a nutter. But it's still and then the animal's chained up. It's not a real bear. It's not a real life bear. It's a baby cub that's been chained and also probably beaten. So
it's still a bear.
Yeah, but it's not a real bear.
And after this fight, so many Muslim people wrote very religious comments, and they said like the queen must die, and they said like the girl in our last video, she's a bitch, and things like that. Is it okay for Muslim people to talk like that?
No, it's not. To be honest, I wouldn't want to. Look, whatever you feel, but I don't. I was brought up a Catholic. I don't. But religion for me is just old.
Why religion is involved again?
To be honest, Conor offering a drink, he knew he was Muslim, he knew he didn't drink. That was disrespectful, and you're not, if you're not, whatever your religion, you're not brought up like that. So I think the fact that religion and sport and religion and politics and all them things, it's an easy get out for a lot of people just to say now, oh, Khabib, he's, Muslim, Islamophobia and all that. Take the religion out of it. He made a mistake, Khabib, but he was under, he was put under a lot of provocation from Conor about which he didn't react to in a lot of pressers, but for me the religion is irrelevant. I mean, I know he brought it up, he's a very religious man. It's fine if he wants to be religious. I'm not. I brought up a Catholic, but I don't, I don't believe in God. I'm not. But if that's what he wants, I respect Khabib for his religion. I think Conor did disrespect him, and that's why they're at the point now. And he brings up his religion because it's important to him, Khabib. So I respect him for that. He's a true champion, Khabib.
I don't want to go inside of the religion or the comment.
You don't need to involve religion.
Yeah, they don't need to involve religion. It's only sports. They are fighters. They train for it, and I don't think they need to involve the religion, because if they want a religion and politics, it's never going to be end.
End of the day, I don't think it's representative of all Muslims. But those who said what was the Queen must die. Well, she probably will do eventually, so yeah, they're probably right on there. But saying she must die, I think it says more about them. Probably a bit stupid.
Well, I mean, it's not appropriate to say anyone must die, and I think I'm not sure why they were. I mean, what McGregor said was, I mean, it's not acceptable really. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't, an eye for an eye is not the way to look at it. And you can't blame. Why are you blaming the Queen? I mean,
also,
seriously.
The Irish hate the Queen. The Irish hate the British monarchy. They really despise them. So to say the Queen must die, you're in support of Conor McGregor.
No,
in that case,
he's not from the UK. At the end of the day, the whole point of their differentiation is they didn't want the Queen.
Is Khabib's behaviour a good example for Muslim people, like what happened after the fight, especially for young Muslims?
Really could have been a bit more mature in how he acted. But it's probably not the best example. No.
Well, no, it's not. Of course, it's not. Because I mean, it's the whole point of UFC is the fact that it's mixed martial arts, but you fight in the ring, and then after the ring, despite what Conor did, at the end of the day, he said, he stopped it there. and that's the way that you should be. It should stop at there. You shouldn't be pushing it on beyond the fight. And although they obviously have an intense rivalry, once it's done in the ring, it's done in the ring. And yes, McGregor might want to have another fight, and he might want to try and prove himself again, but it's in the ring he wants to prove himself, not outside the ring.
At the end of the day, there's an English prophet, we use like a little code we live by. It's called chat shit, get banged. And McGregor was, unfortunately for all of us, chatting shit, and he got banged. So that's very much a very British like tradition there.
No, I think there was probably some built-up anger, but yeah, that's probably not the way to direct that.
It's a shame. He's a role model. I don't know if he's necessarily a Muslim role model. I like the way he conducts himself generally, but that's not related to his religion or his background particularly. It wasn't great. He's let himself down and let his team down and his family down, all those classic lines. And yeah, he probably, to some extent, he probably regrets it in the fact that he does consider himself a role model. I don't know if he thinks that his religion plays a part in that, but yeah, he's probably disappointed in himself, I should think.
It's got nothing to do with religion. Like, you either act in a certain way or you don't. That's got nothing to do with religion.
I don't think it's not a good example for any person. I think you win with dignity, you lose with dignity. It's irrelevant what their religion is. I really think that now, if that's becoming the story, I think they're missing the point. I really do. I don't think it's to do with religion. I think it's to do with one man went over the top to publicise a fight, and they have to look at that in sport, in boxing and in MMA, that they went a bit too far with hyping the fight to get pay-per-view numbers, to the extent of Khabib was obviously very fired up and had been disrespected. His religion, which is very important to him, had been disrespected, and he felt that's how he should react. Whether I agree with it or not, I mean, I don't. I'd rather him just be a good champion and be classy and come out, lacked a bit of class, but he was under extreme provocation, and I don't think it's about religion. I had hoped the story wouldn't be about religion. Really, that's,
And if you would be Conor McGregor, what would you do the next day after the fight?
I kill him.
I'd keep my mouth shut. Which I think he has done, to be fair. I suspect he was counting his money.
I'd apologise. I'd apologise for the hype, I mean, that reaction was that, he was wrong, Khabib, and Khabib will say it, and his dad was going to batter him when he gets home to Russia, he said. So Khabib knows it's wrong. Conor went too far, but Conor's that character that he pushes that, and MMA and UFC push that. They want, 200 million they got from that.
Probably spend time with my lovely wife and children. That's what I do.
Well, he's got to stay calm, otherwise he's rising to what Khabib wants him to do. That's the whole point of it. The whole point is if he rises to it and tries to fight him, then he's doing what he wants.
Caleb, yeah, you're a waste man. Come here, cuz, like, you know what I'm saying? You want to chat shit? You want to chat shit on the camera, yeah? Come down island, cuz. That's what I said to him.
Probably spend my money.
How?
On whatever he wants to.
On Khabib's Instagram, he threats the UFC president, Dana White, and he sits on his car, on his BMW. How do you see Khabib's career in the future in the UFC?
UFC is different from regular sport because they are fighters, they are brutal. They ask for it. I don't know why. They ask for it.
They like this trash talk.
Like the trash talk, they love. It's like, you remember WWF and...
you know why? You know why?
Why?
Because there's going to be more views.
More views and more likes and... yeah, and Instagram and Facebook, I think everybody likes it. And YouTube, they get all the views and... they feed from it.
Dana White's a sensible man. He knows he's brought the UFC a long way, and Conor's helped that. But I think the Khabib-Conor fight is what everyone wants. You want to see. I mean, there's other fights. Tony Ferguson is going to want to fight Khabib. Nick Diaz, they both want to fight Khabib. There's a lot. That lightweight division is probably the best in the UFC. So Khabib will make Khabib is the best in that division at the moment, and he'll be back and he'll want to fight, and it is, he's going to sell pay-per-view. He might not do the media, he might not be a big character, but just the fact that you just keep winning, that's, and UFC needs to, I know it needs to clean up the image. You've got the other fighters. They've had John Jones, has had his problems, and Khabib is, for me, pound for pound, the best fighter in the UFC. So
the UFC will do what they need to do. They'll suspend him for a short period of time if was it Nevada State Athletic Commission don't, and then they'll try and make money out of him again in the same way that they did with the McGregor incident and the bus attack. They'll condemn it, they'll put all the right rhetoric out, and then they'll give him the fight that makes them the most money again.
I think Khabib has got a much deeper sort of team and background that most people even consider. I don't think it'll affect him actually.
Probably really good. Probably win more fights. Maybe we won't get as many sponsorships, but I think he's quite similar to Tyson Fury. I think a lot of it is all chat. I think it's all like bravado for more attention. I don't think he's really threatening him. I think he's probably a very close friend with Dana White. So I probably don't really believe that as much. But yeah, I think it's been one big publicity stunt and it's worked. Everyone's talking about it. So he's probably quite smart in what he's saying actually.
I mean, short term, maybe there might be some issues. Maybe like they've spoken about maybe trying to like strip his belt, but it's not going to happen. He might get cautioned, but nothing serious, I don't think. And I think he's an incredible fighter. They're not going to get rid of him, and he is the champ after all. And I think he's going to keep that title for a long time.
He won a big fight. Like, I mean, his actions are in some way obviously terrible, but surely his brand is going to only grow and grow. He's going to go on to be something probably bigger than what he is now.
If there's going to be a rematch one day between Khabib and Conor, who is going to win?
I can't see Conor actually winning. The fight was completely dominated the other way.
Yeah, there's no guarantees. You know, he can clearly punch, and if he catches Khabib, you know, he could win it. But yeah, 4 out of 5, 9 out of 10 times Khabib wins that fight, I think.
To be honest, after watching that, it was so one-sided, and I thought Conor was better than that. His wrestling defence let him down. I think Khabib would win again.
Conor McGregor would not win again. He's nowhere near as good. He got dominated last time. He'll get dominated again.
Yeah, not McGregor. Although, to be honest, I would like to see him win, but he's not going to win because I think Khabib, you can tell, he's just far more concentrated on actually the fighting, and that's what he is. He's a serious fighter. And I think a couple of years ago you might have said that about Gregor, but now he he loves the show and he loves the whole entertainment of it, which is good for the sport. But at the same time, Khabib's the better fighter now.